What is up, homies? Welcome back to another trailer reaction from Heroes Reforged. We're checking out the new trailer for Spider-Noir. We're going to watch it in black and white, and then we're also going to watch it in color so we can get the full experience. This is the brand new show coming out on Prime Video on May 27th. They announced that it's going to be a full season binge drop, which I have lots of thoughts on, but more Nicolas Cage, I'm not mad about one bit. Nicolas Cage's chef's kiss, in my opinion. We'll have the uncut reactions for this whole series on Patreon, so if you want to check that out, check it out on there. Join the community. It'll be a fun time. I'm just ready to watch this teaser and see what all the hoopla is about.
Let's do it, baby. Count it down.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Tell me why.
You already know how it ends.
Well, then start from the beginning.
Ticks,
Oh.
thoughts, and impulses. I manage to suppress them most of the time.
What's going on, Ben?
Hey.
Oh, damn.
Whoa, what was that?
What the hell happened to him?
I beat up some guys in a bar. And I got plastered.
Yes. Oh, yes. Thank God. Yes. Oh, my God.
Give me that. Give me that weirdness.
With no power comes no responsibility.
No powers, yep.
Right.
What are you thinking about over there?
Bit of an existential crisis, if I'm honest.
Oh, wow.
Oh, damn. Oh, was that Electro?
Wow, yeah, look like it.
Yo, look at him.
Whoa.
Oh,
Watching
okay.
two ways, full color, baby.
Oh, nice.
Hey, well,
nice,
guess
nice.
what? We're jumping into the color trailer right now.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. That's so interesting. Yeah, I'm so curious to see how it looks different in color.
This is cool, yeah.
Well, then
Oh, wow.
start from the beginning.
Ticks, thoughts, and impulses. I manage to suppress them most of the time.
What's going on, Ben?
Oh, nice.
Wait. What the hell happened to him?
I beat up some guys in a bar. And I got
Oh my God. Thank you, Lord.
What are you thinking about over there?
Bit of an existential crisis, if I'm honest.
Struck a nerve, huh?
Oh, Sandman maybe?
So that looked like Sandman, yeah.
Okay, that was definitely Electro.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
In true
cool.
hue.
Same
They're
shot,
calling
black
it
and white.
true
That's
hue.
nice. I will give them credit. That is good marketing technique. You know, I will say I overall maybe I still am to an extent, pessimistic about releasing two versions of it, one in color and one in black and white, because to me it feels a little bit like, and I know that Spider-Man Noir comic books are not exclusively black and white, like they've been black and white, they've been color, they've been two-toned. But I think the thing that made me a little like, come on guys, commit, is I feel like they are releasing both versions in some ways, obviously, to showcase the incredible craftsmanship and art and hard work that went into making the color version, but also, well, God, will the TikTok generation sit through an 8-episode Spider-Man 1930s noir black and white style show. And I hope that's not the case because, like, again, in Lord and Miller, I trust. If anything, like, those are guys that I have full faith in. But I also just kind of worry about those decisions sometimes because I do feel like it's like, we got to make sure the young audience watches our show. And I'm like, yeah, but also being bold and making a choice is also the right move sometimes. So yeah. I'm a little bit in both worlds of like, yeah, it's really cool that you're making that offering, but also don't do it just to appease an audience who you don't think will watch. Because like Werewolf by Night, the thing that I think we loved was that it's black and white and it's fully committed to black and white. And then when the story resolves itself, it turns into color. And then later on, they have the full color version. But I still think that like both versions, watching the trailers in black and white and color, I think both look really, really good. I think I'm naturally leaning towards wanting to experience it in black and white first.
No, yeah, I don't disagree with that. I do feel like though that they didn't just go straight up color. Because you can tell that it's the colors that they're using are more stylized. They're of the era. They look a little bit almost like what's it called? What was the color?
It's got slight like Technicolor look to it.
Technicolor, but also maybe like pre-Technicolor. Like maybe the colors they use for Wizard of Oz. Because I know Wizard of Oz used some different coloring technique for their colors. Where like the skin tones were a little bit yellowy and like
so they shot Wizard of Oz is shot in 3-strip Technicolor, and then it's sepia toned at the beginning. But yeah, you're right. It definitely looks like, you know, you look at the way like the reds are not totally red. They're like this off red. It's a little bit of like this burnt orangey look. It's got some exaggeration in the color. So I like that they at least weren't like, we're going to release it in a traditional color look. It's this very much evoking the era of the 30s or this like early color film look, which I appreciate.
I'm even looking back at like the way they do his makeup. And they kind of exaggerate the shadows and the lights because you need to kind of shoot it that way for black and white even. Because not everything that you shoot in color translates properly. So you have to be really selective about the colors, the makeup, the way you dress the set, your lighting and everything to make sure that it translates over in black and white. And I feel like they're doing that because it doesn't feel like traditional Hollywood movies or makeup or set dressing or colors even. And I like that because now we're seeing kind of like the Netflixification of cinema, of film, and everything looks the same. And this does not look the same. So I'm down. I don't feel like this is the color version is put out just for people who might not like black and white. I feel like they're also trying to say something with the colors and breaking from what we're seeing that's been popularized amongst all streaming services and all shows that we've been watching recently. And so, I think it's a good choice. I am leaning towards watching the black and white version as well as the exclusive version that I kind of want to see because that's Spider-Noir and that's kind of in the name. But, you know, I do feel like they're giving me just enough to look into the I think it's called True Tone, the True Tone version and being like, okay, this is also saying something really cool. And so I'm down for all of it. I think it's going to be really cool to see both of them.
Yeah. And I mean,
True hue, that's what it is.
True hue full color, yeah. And you're totally right about the way that it's lit, because if you watch a lot of old Hollywood movies that are made in the 30s, you know, obviously the lights themselves were very different, halogen lights and, you know, the pre-LED era. But in order to get really sculptured lighting and in order for faces to look like they were angular and like they had texture and all that stuff, black and white movies are lit like crazy. They have lights everywhere. And this is very much like you're saying, it's evoking that lighting style where we're not just lighting for a face. We are lighting for a background, but it's intentional lighting. It's not just to give the background exposure. It's to make sure that people understand the geometric shapes of the background. And if the wall is angled a certain way, you can see that. And it doesn't just look like a flat gray panel. Because that's the thing with black and white, is that it can look very gray and very washed out. And that's the danger. But then, like you're also saying, it will help the color version really pop. And I would have to imagine that, you know, I definitely fully believe that they shot it with the intention of doing both. So I would have to imagine
I think so.
On set, they had a version like maybe either 2 monitors or they had 1 monitor where they could go, okay, put the LUT for the colored version and then put the LUT for the black and white version. And then they could look at it and go, okay, we need to adjust our lighting. We need to, make sure this key light is here just to make sure we get the angles and the faces and all that stuff, because it is very intentionally lit. And I also agree that it's a very refreshing look. Like, I love the fact that there's the stuff in the offices and the lights, the light coming in from the outside is just blown out. Like, I don't need to, the detail is not important. It's the way that it wraps around the characters and the way it wraps around office ornaments and all that stuff. Like, I love that. Yeah. So yeah, it's a very, very stylized show, intentionally stylized show. And I love it for doing that. And hard to tell, of course, on the YouTube compressed trailer, but I'm hoping that when we watch it, like, okay, cool. They also put some grain and some texture and there's halation and just really leaning into the era in which this show is representing. And then Nicolas Cage is just unhinged. And I'm like,
and we haven't even talked about Nicolas Cage, dude. Like, such a good casting choice for this character. It's crazy how good it fits. I never would have thought of casting him before Spider-Verse even. I never would have thought of casting him for this role. I never would have thrown his name in the hat. But this works. This works 100%. It's great.
It does. Well, and it's also worth mentioning that, in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, he is playing Spider-Man Noir, Peter Parker from like the 1930s. But in this, he's Ben Reilly, and which kind of surprised me because I thought that this show was just going to be the version he plays in Spider-Verse, but like a full show. That was my understanding. So now knowing that he's playing Ben Reilly, which I think in the comic books, I think, is that Scarlet Spider in the comic books, I think?
Let me double check because Hector's not here and Hector's our Spider-Man.
Our ultimate Spider-Man guy. Our Spider-Man encyclopedia
I know, right?
What is not here.
What a reaction for Hector not to be on.
I know. But I do think it's an interesting choice, and it had me thinking about the rights. And how the rights of Spider-Man when it comes to like TV and movies is at Sony, and then Marvel Studios has rights to animation. So I wonder, like, was it a conscious decision because they're like, well, let's not confuse the audience. Let's differentiate from Peter Parker and this version of Spider-Man, because then we have to explain, it's a multiverse. It's a different version of Peter Parker. But also, Spider-Man Noir, if it's a Peter Parker, traditionally would be a younger version. So now it's like we have to explain why he's an old Peter Parker, why he's a bit of a curmudgeon. Is he at the end of his career? La la da 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 da. So they probably were like, what, clean slate. Let's just make it Ben Reilly. Let's just make him this type of a character. Let's set him in this time period, and the audience will just accept him for who he is. And if we have to do a little bit of explaining, we'll explain it. But once we kind of get the story going, you don't really have to worry about it. And I'm like, you know what? Sure, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
If it gives opportunities in a multiverse movie to eventually bring in Ben Reilly as Spider-Man Noir, fine, whatever, do it.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they might tie it into the larger Spider-Verse universe. Given that a live action universe could be something that we see in a Spider-Man universe, multiverse kind of thing. But you're right. Ben Reilly is traditionally Scarlet Spider. So to see that connection makes me think that there might be some kind of multiversal shenanigans happening that aren't going to be like the overt tones of this franchise. I think we're still very much going to be in this franchise in the 20s and 30s and really kind of dealing with this. And maybe we'll get like a small tease at the end of like a portal opening up and Peter Parker coming through or whatever. Right. Somebody from the bigger universe. But also, if it doesn't happen, I'll be perfectly happy too.
Totally.
I don't need it.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not asking for it at this point. And, I mean, again, I know they're not the showrunners, but they are the executive producers, Lord and Miller. So they are very aware, conscious of, they made Spider-Verse, or the executive produced Spider-Verse and wrote Spider-Verse. So yeah, I'm sure that they also in the back of their minds are like, should we do that? Can we leave it open for that? Do we need to? Whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, I'm invested just in Spider-Noir, this character, this version of it. I want to know what this guy's story is. I'm so excited that like Nicolas Cage gets to play this character and that it even came to fruition, because would I have ever thought in a million years that Nicolas Cage would end up playing Ghost Rider, Superman, and Spider-Man? No. Never in my life.
Negative.
The fact that that's happened
Nope.
is kind of cool. But it looks great. Like I love the aesthetic and I love the choices that they're making. And yeah, this may be, it's weird. Like we'll have to see how it feels as we watch the show. But I'm also almost tempted to be like, maybe we'll double dip and we'll watch the black and white episodes and then we'll go back and watch the color episodes. Like maybe that would be fun.
Yeah.
Be fun. It will be less the second watch, whatever it is, will be less about the reaction and more of like, oh wow, look how this shit pops in color. Like that could very much happen.
Yeah. I think it will. I think it will, just because they are very much lighting it. Like the color tones and the color palette is very much of the time. Like there was a very specific color palette and popular paints and the way people painted their houses and the clothes that they wore and everything. Like it feels like they really did their homework on what is going to work and how it's going to translate over into black and white. So it'll be really interesting. I think we'll still get a lot from the color version.
Yeah, I think so too. Absolutely. I think both versions are gonna look great. And you know, and and I'm just happy to be wrong. You know, like I don't want them to do it to appease younger audiences. I want them to do it because it's an artistic, creative choice. And it definitely feels like that's the case, which I'm like, good. Thank God. Thank God that you didn't do it for any other reason other than, hey, creatively, this looks rad. Good. That's exactly the decision you should be making. So makes me happy. But yeah, I think it looks really rad. But of course, guys, what did you think about this first look at Spider-Noir? Do you think it looks cool? Which version are you going to watch? Are you going to watch both? In which order? We'll have to figure out what we're going to do. But yeah, really excited for this. Let us know what you thought. Check out everything else we're watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Heroes Reforged is gonna react. Heroes Reforged is gonna review. Heroes Reforged is gonna discuss. That's why we are watching